All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to Nick at Night. We are here today with Andre and the new head coach of the track team, Coach Kassner. Welcome. Good to
Thanks
have
for
you
having
guys.
us.
All right, you want to introduce yourselves a little bit? Kassner, you want to start with yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Mr. Kassner, now Coach Kassner, taking over this year as the new head coach of Nicolay Track and Field. I'm a business teacher, so teach in our business department, teach financial literacy, entrepreneurship, intro to business. Ran track in high school. I was a hurdler and a triple jumper. And then in college, decided to play football instead of run track. And since I've kind of left, I've always wanted to get back in it, and here we are.
All right, my name is Andre, and I'm a sprinter here. I run the 1 and 200, jump here and there. So yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right, Cece, you want to talk about yourself a little bit?
I'm Cece. I'm not doing track this year. I did track all through middle school though, and cross country. And then I've kind of fashioned myself an expert, but just because of my older brother's crazy track state kid. So I've been to all the meets. I know what goes on.
Yeah, and those adventures of hours and hours in the track stadiums. All right, I'll introduce myself a little bit. I'm Jonah. I'm one of the hosts of today's little podcast, and I also am going to be competing in track this year. I did do it freshman all throughout high school, but then freshman year, of course, we got hit with COVID, so we kind of started that, and then like 3 weeks into it, got shut down, and it was right after we did our time trials too. So right after we were all hyped up to get our scores back and see who we were faster than our friends, and then they never released those scores either. So we never ever heard if we.
You said they never did?
Yeah, I never got them. Did you?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think so, because otherwise I would have bragged about it to somebody, or I would have been really embarrassed about it to somebody.
Yeah.
And no, I would have told nobody. So let's. I guess we could start with talking about some of any new changes. Maybe Mr. Kassner, do you have any new changes that are coming to the track season? I know the old head coach stepped down, so I believe he's going to be a hurdle coach, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for sure. So Coach Ike has been a hurdle coach here for about 30 years. So he's kind of been one of those staples in Nicolay Track, and wanted to just get back into more spending time with the athletes. So he can do that now, being an assistant coach. The head track coach is an interesting job because it's mostly administrative stuff. It's a lot of taking care of things like ordering uniforms, setting up meets, setting up buses, everything like that. This year there's some added kind of twists and turns because we don't have a track. So with our nice renovation happening, we are going to be practicing in Gym 2 and then sometimes traveling to either Whitefish Bay or USM to practice when we want to practice outside. So some added challenges this year. Otherwise, a lot of our coaches from last year are coming back, which is good. We're adding some new coaches as well. And I'm super excited about the staff that we've put together and really just focusing on the team effort of everything. Our numbers look to be up. Obviously, we'll see when the season starts next week, but really focusing on both individual success, which we've seen for a long period of time, but really trying to create, by the time we get to conference, a full team and a lineup that we can hopefully compete for a conference championship with.
Yeah, so one thing about that is also one thing we had with the relays was there was a lot of like switching around of the relays. So if we get like one good relay, just throughout the year for each of 4x1, 4x2, and 4x4, I think by conference relays we'll be straight. Be good.
So I know that Mr. Kassner, you're coaching football, you're playing football. That's a huge team sport. Are you trying to take some of that and bring it to the track team? Is that where the inspiration comes from, or is it just a general?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. People often say football is the ultimate team sport, but I love track as well because it has the team aspect, but then also there's no other sport where every single game or every single event in track, it stays the exact same. You're not playing necessarily a different team. There might be different people that are running against you, but your event never changes. A 200-meter dash is always 200 meters. Triple jump is always the exact same event. And there are just less variables than there often are in a sport like soccer. And because of that, it's a sport where you can see continuous growth and you can figure out exactly how you want to get better from event to event. And that's something I love about track. But then the team side of it, it's awesome to see things like relays where you do have some teammates helping you out directly, but also just the concept that each individual can do their part to then help the whole also be successful.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna take part in a lot of that sort of jumping right into it practices. I know they'll start on next week Monday.
Yeah.
What is that? The 6th?
Yep.
Mhm.
6th.
Really?
Yeah, that's coming up quick. I know it's sure it's gonna hit me hard because I know I've been doing so much exercise.
Yeah.
I was working a lot recently, and then I obviously when I was working a lot, I worked almost every day after school during the week, and then I was off on the weekends. But that was a lot of time that I spent with my girlfriend or family or homework or whatever it is that I need to catch up on from during the week that I might have missed just with being caught up in school and work. Yeah, I had a lot of time on my hands to go running and exercise, so I was doing a whole lot of that. I'm sure I'll be in great shape right away.
Like the sarcasm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got Andre. You've been doing club track all year,
indoor,
right?
Yeah.
Do you?
Started-
Okay. So I don't want you to like feel pressure, but like, which one do you like better? Do you like school track or club track better?
Well, I'll say probably school because it's more outdoor. So
Mhm.
because the indoor stuff is kind of like it's kind of harder to run on the track, I'd say.
Yes.
But then in the summer, it's outdoor, but it's just super hot. So the spring is kind of just in the middle of like it's chilly in the beginning and starts to like get warmer after time. So I feel like it's better. And also, it's kind of like when you do the indoor track, you like have like connections with people in there, and like it's kind of a more limited time than in the spring because you see them at school a lot. And usually the club track, there's not a lot of people from Nicolay even running. I think only other people are like Sydney and Tyler.
That's fun.
Yeah, what club do you run for?
Milwaukee Speed Academy. After you have the sweatshirt.
Oh,
on
came
right now.
prepared.
Oh my goodness, repping in the merch. Speaking of merch, we got new track uniforms.
Mhm.
Kassner, if you want to share your opinion on that, did you help with the design on those at all, or what happened there?
Yeah, for sure. So coming in as a head coach, obviously I wanted to talk to athletes and see things that they liked and also things that they might want to change. And the uniforms have been the same for a very long time.
Yes.
A nice classic look of plain white with the
Plain
little
Nicolay letters.
yeah, with the little Nicolay
Same as
navy
cross
blue.
country.
Yeah, and while I do love a good classic look, it seemed like a lot of people wanted to change it up, and that's something that I was happy to do. So I spent way too much time this winter designing new uniforms, went through numerous iterations, and ultimately came to the design that we have now. So my favorite color is Columbia blue. So thankfully that's one of our colors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, underutilized within our color scheme.
Yes, yes.
So the Columbia blue top with our nice big Nicolay logo on the front, some striping on the side, kind of reminiscent of the old Marquette basketball jerseys or the Bucks new jerseys. Actually, they're doing some little striping like that. So try to tie that in to make it a little unique, and then actually the word Nicolay down the back.
Oh, that's
So-
my favorite.
Yeah,
I was gonna
that's
ask
actually really
that.
cool. It's kind
That's
of-
what O-Town has, right? What is that one
What was it?
track team?
Oshkosh.
I
A lot
don't
of teams
know.
have them. A lot
But
of
the,
teams.
yeah,
the down the
West Bend
back, I
West
think
does
that's the
too.
coolest.
Andre, what are your thoughts on the new uniforms?
Well,
Be nice.
I know I was
I'm
talking
gonna
to
be nice, yeah.
I was talking to Andre on the way in here, and Andre was like, "Oh, I might have some strong opinions on the new uniforms."
Yeah,
so
I was talking to Kassner a lot about the uniforms because there was because I kind of like the like tight fit uniforms a little more, but I don't mind running with the like looser uniform because I was just about to say something about the uniform and I forgot.
Sorry, I
was
think I cut you off.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. But
what are your opinions on maybe the short
uh,
shorts?
I was
that we
gonna say
wear?
I was gonna ask about the Columbia blue. With the short shorts, I don't really mind the shorts. I'm gonna probably use the tights anyways. So yeah. But is the Columbia blue gonna go on the turf field? I think it is, isn't it? Like I think they're gonna add it onto there.
Yeah, I
But,
think the logo will be kind of our main night logo that we have,
Mhm.
and there's a little bit of Columbia normally mixed in.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Andre talked about kind of the different types of uniforms too, and that's something a lot of people don't recognize or realize about track is that you look at a track uniform and they all seem pretty similar, but oftentimes between longer distance runners and short distance runners, longer distance runners like a looser jersey, sprinters like a tighter fit jersey, and this year we're going with a looser fit jersey, but I promised Andre and anybody else that's out here listening that if you make it to state, I'll get you a tight jersey if you want a tight jersey. So
That's a good
that is
deal.
that's my promise, and we'll make sure that happens. I'm hoping I order an entire new team set of tight jerseys. That would be awesome if we put that many people through to state.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Is that going to be the same state jersey, or how are they going to changing state jersey?
Yeah,
same state jersey?
that's
Not sure yet.
still kind of in the works.
Okay.
Yeah, I might go a little different and actually make the base of the jersey white for state. That's kind of a tradition in a lot of schools, is that they have their jersey during the year that is typically a school color, but then a lot of schools will have a state jersey that is white.
Yes,
That's
like
kind
the
of
like
your,
the away team thing, how that kind of works. How like you always wear like the almost inverse color
Yeah.
of for every sport. If you play a home game, you play like in your solid blue for Nicolay, but then if you're away, we play white with our number to be blue.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
same
and it's
as-
something similar.
Same as swim. They have a normal blue cap, and then they have like a little bit different blue cap for sectionals, and then state is a white cap with blue lettering.
Yeah,
So
I don't
I'm
know
sure
the
it's just
history,
a-
but yeah.
There must be something there that we're missing, because it seems like it's a thing.
So is the like newer Nicolay logo like the one with the just the only the head with like the little like thing coming out? Is that gonna like stay like for the football? Or are we gonna is everybody gonna like come back just to like the original logo? Is
Yeah,
that
I
gonna
think
be
it kind of
like that?
depends a little bit. I think football will probably keep more of the knight head.
Mhm.
Our logo is super cool and super intricate, so when it is big, it's really easy to see, and it's nice because you get the knight of the mascot
Mhm.
and the N as part of the logo. But as you make that logo smaller and smaller, it's so busy that it's kind of hard to see. So some
Mhm.
sports have started to adopt that knight
The
head.
smaller one.
Yeah, it's kind of an alternate logo. So when it's smaller, let's say on a baseball helmet or a basketball jersey or a football helmet, you still recognize it's a knight instead of just kind of seeing a blurry N and
Yeah.
something above it.
Yeah.
I know golf made their own like N that's like never been used before, but none of the kids liked it, so they're redoing that whole thing. So it is cool how our logo is like, I mean, it's specific. We have a logo that we use for everything, but then also it's really easy to change as long as you bring in that knight and you bring in our color scheme and you bring in hopefully the N also. It's very
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. So keeping those brand standards, but having some flexibility.
Definitely the color is gonna kind of separate you, so you can be very identifiable.
All right, well, heading back over to the upcoming season, Andre, what are your thoughts on the season? I mean, without any little to no prior knowledge on who it is that's going to be running in track and whatever, what are your thoughts? Do you think we're going to be good this year? You think things are going to go south pretty quickly? Or
Well, I don't want to say that we're just gonna be bad because I don't really. I mean, I know people are gonna come back from last year, and I think that last year we actually got a couple people from football to come to one of the practices. So I kind of had this thing because I didn't play football last year, but there's actually a couple people from football that actually just came for one practice, I think. So I think this year I see like a couple more people from football like coming out. So I mean, and they're pretty fast people. So I mean, we also have just returning players or runners, I guess you could call them. Yeah, but I feel like we're gonna be pretty good this year. So, if we get like the right relays together and just figure out like just who everybody is, then I think we'll be fine.
How about your season? How about your personal season? Are you feeling good? Feeling better than last year?
Yeah. Actually, I
That's
did
good.
better like this indoor season. In terms of like PRs, I've been PRing a lot.
what is
So,
it? What's your PB?
In the 200, it's currently 22:88, 22:82. I think, yeah.
That's
And
pretty
then
quick.
in the 60, it's 7:12. So yeah, I'm aiming to break 22 this year.
Break 22?
Outdoor, and 11 in the 100.
Breaking 11, all right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so fun.
Pretty quick guy. Me personally, I'm gonna break.
Running's hard.
Yeah, running's hard. running is running, man. That's
Running is running.
running's running. Last season I ended pretty well personally for my season. I only ran in the open 100 for our regional track meet, and then I PR'd and I qualified for then like the next round, which was then like the top 8 of it was like 4 heats of different people. So then I was in the top 8 and I PR'd. I was like not expected to do
That's awesome.
that at all. And then I PR'd again, and then I barely was cut out of it because then it was the top 4 that moved on, and I got 5th out of the top 8. So it would have been cool to move on, but honestly, I'm kind of okay that I didn't because I would have had to make a long drive, and I would have ran for about 10 seconds and lost. So I'm okay with, how I did. I still PR'd. I had a good end of my season.
That's exciting.
I think the best thing about like PRing sometimes is you'll have an expectation of how fast you're gonna run, and you run faster than it. It kind of just like boosts your confidence even more than if you just like set one.
Yeah, for sure. And track especially pays off that way because, maybe you might, score a goal in soccer or get a touchdown, but that happens all the time. You don't PR every time you run.
Yeah.
And especially when you PR, you realize like this training that you're doing and all that practicing is
paying
actually
off.
paying
Yeah.
off because it's on you. There's no like team effort. Like it's not like, oh my gosh, my teammate really helped me with this. This is all on you. It might have been the magical dinner that you had the night before.
Yeah.
It might have been amazing training that you had. Nobody knows what it is. It's all situational, but that kind of stuff is really awesome about track. I think that's one of the things that track has that almost no other sport has.
Yeah, it's a lot of one of the most individual like sports that like that there is, because like in football and other sports, sometimes you can have like your teammates holding you accountable because like it's just like all around. Or, like in track, you kind of have to hold yourself because like you can like not run as good in practice as another practice, but in football, kind of if they like see you not training as well, then they'll kind of like point it out to you more often.
Yeah, and I think relays are awesome for that too because
Yeah.
you might think like, oh, it's a relay, it's a team activity, but really, if you mess
They're
up and you
looking at your
fall,
time.
you're looking at your own time. They cut that into fourths, and you look at your own time, and then you try to cut that down as best you can, regardless of how fast the others are around you. Because I know many times last year we had many meets where we had people got injured and people couldn't make it to many varsity meets. I know
a
like
lot of injuries last year.
yeah, I know. Like our Arrowhead meet was a mess. Andre was at someone's quinceanera, and like
God.
3 of our fastest guys sprained their ankles. It was like me and like 3 like JV players. Like it was like a freshman, 2 sophomores, and we got smoked. It was rough. People were falling on the track. It was terrible.
I'm looking more forward to that one because I didn't run in that one last year, and kind of excited for it.
But
Arrowhead
yeah,
is the prettiest track. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Yeah, it's
looks
the
like
one
a
that-
college.
it's the one that everyone PRs on because it's
'Cause
the
it's
nicest track.
gorgeous.
So you just grip
When
that
you're
one.
when you're under the lights like that, it's like, oh, I gotta run fast now. I mean, it's just honestly those racing sports, all of them. So what? It's like cross country, track. It's a lot of same people, and then swimming too is all just like so mental. It's so in your head. So how do you try to like get out of your head when you're running?
Well, one thing I used to do when I first started was I would look to the next person. I'll try to race them, and like that also can mess up your form because like. For example, when you're in the 100, in the beginning, you're usually supposed to keep your head down a little bit in the beginning and then like slowly progress it up. Sometimes what I would do is I would run next to the person and then, I'll see them go up and then I'll go up with them and try to race them to the end usually. And what my Coach Ike told me to do was more, run and like try to like just block out everybody else and just stay in your own lane. And the nervousness, I get butterflies, but it's kind of like
Channel
I
it.
just like.
Run faster.
Stay chill.
Yeah, I think time helps with that too. Like it,
Time.
especially like like just doing this more and more.
Mhm.
Like I
Oh,
remember,
yeah,
geez,
experience,
as a freshman,
definitely.
I was even as a sophomore too, because we didn't have our track season our freshman year. But even during practices, I'd still be kind of antsy about like beating my friend or beating whoever it was that I was next to. Because I might be warming next to some freshman girl, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, I can't have my coach watch me lose to this freshman, even though we might be like, doing just warm ups. We might just be doing, some high knees for 10 meters, but I'm beating her across.
Yeah.
And, I think one other thing about like nervousness, I remember what I did. It was during it was actually when I PR'd, the last PR I had. I was like, it was in the beginning, and I was like, there's people on the side, they're like complimenting what I had on, like I had on my leg. I had some like band on my leg, and I was like talking to people. I was just like staying
just
calm.
very
Like I wasn't like nervous at all. But like, I mean, my heart was still beating.
Yeah,
it's just like,
because it's a big thing.
Yeah, I think talking to people always helps too. Like I remember you probably remember too, almost at every meet that, if I'm standing there and I'm holding your blocks, I'm standing there and I'm hyping you up the entire time that I'm standing there. I'm sitting there and I'm crap talking to everybody else. Andre, you are way faster than everyone. They're so slow.
I remember last year, I was like in the blocks, and there was this dude saying, "They ain't got nothing on you." I'm like, "Oh yeah, no." and like they're like holding me to like a thing, and it's just like if I lose, then I look like an idiot, and so do they. So like
Yeah.
have to.
I
Gotta beat
maybe
him
that's helpful. I don't know. And I held Jimmy's blocks one time, and I did really bad. I'm so sorry. It was not a
At
good
holding
job.
blocks, at holding the blocks,
I
you
like
messed up.
he totally pushed it away, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but
Oh
whatever.
my
He had to
gosh.
run, so he didn't say anything. But I'm like dead silent. I'm like, I don't want to bother. I feel like there's like a zone that you're in, and I don't want to get out of it. But
Oh no, they're in their own head. That's what you got to get them out of.
I don't know.
It's an interesting psychology of block holding.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
It's just better. Maybe it's different for everyone.
I think it depends on the runner, probably.
Yeah, maybe some people like to be in their own space. Some people don't. Personally, I don't really care. I'm gonna be in your space. So, like it or not, I might make you lose it. I might make you win the
There you
race.
go.
But
Sometimes it even depends on the zone I'm in, because sometimes I will like just talk to people because I don't really care. But sometimes I'll just like not talk to anybody unless somebody
Yeah.
talks to me or something. I would just sort of like just stay to myself until the end of the race, and then I start talking to people again.
Do you have like a pre-race process? Like, do you like tap your foot 3 times or like any of that?
I mean,
Well, that's nice.
in the I guess before, like when they say on your marks, one thing I started doing was just reaching down and stretching my leg, and then I don't jump like everybody else. I just
I
No
was
jumping.
sometimes
jumping.
I do
I
like
had
little
to
like
jump.
taps.
it's like the unspoken rule of track is when they say on your marks, everybody, you know, they're all looking at their blocks, and then you pick your head up and you do a little hop. You don't like jump super high, but it's like a little, it's like a hop, and you point your toes when you're in the air too. I don't know what it is, but
to
Jimmy
jump
does
and
it.
touch their knees all the time. Like,
Oh,
just
yeah.
Jump in, I
Yep.
don't know.
You little like a box jump. What is
There's a
that?
kid on my track team for indoor, and what he did like all the time was he was just always like he was always doing like a vertical jump. He would always like, you know how like our max arts is when we do like the vertical, we have to swing our arms.
Yeah.
He'll always do that, like just like while we're warming up or if we're waiting around. He will always just jump super high for like no reason whatsoever. Just nah,
it's a
he's-
superstitious
It's a
thing.
choice.
I don't-
It's a choice. I feel like
Yeah.
you know you gotta get it in your head and then you do it over and over.
That's how he
again
hypes himself up.
eventually.
It's respect.
All right, so Kester, you also ran track at one point back in the good old days. So what was that like for you? I mean, did you have any superstitious things that you did? Did you
You jumped.
were you fast or no? Were you not?
I was all right. I made it to sectionals a few times,
That's
but
pretty good.
I never made it to state.
So far, that's better than me.
I went to a really small school too, so divisions were a little bit different. But I always would write something on my tape. So for jumping, you kind of put your tape down to know
Yep.
where you're starting to jump. Yep. So I always wrote one of my favorite Bible verses actually
Oh,
on
I
that
love
tape.
that.
Yeah. So kind of the same thing every time. It was Philippians 4:13, and it was always there. So I was superstitious that way. And then usually if I like wore a certain outfit, like the sweats that I wore, and I did well, then I'd try to keep that the same every time. And then I would, I had a lot of stuff, I guess, now that I think about it. I had different socks for each event. So
Oh, you definitely had
didn't
stuff.
like
Yeah.
I didn't like to jump in the same socks I hurdled in because my
Okay, but I feel
socks
like I
that I
get that.
jumped in would get all sandy, and
Okay,
gross.
yeah, that.
So then I would switch.
I don't know if
before
that's
would hurdle.
necessarily superstitious or if that's just
Yeah,
cleanliness
right.
of not wanting to have sand in
It
your
had
socks.
to be the same pair though for each time.
Oh,
That's
really?
fair. No, yeah, that's definitely superstition, but that's okay. If it works, it works.
One
Yeah.
thing I've been doing recently is running. I'll run with socks sometimes, but running with no socks, I guess, actually sometimes helps more. Like, I mean, your
Weird.
cleats smell very bad afterwards, but like,
Oh, I don't know why, but for a second, I mean, I know that like don't. I'm not weird. I know that you like meant that like you just had your spikes on and like no socks,
Yeah.
but for whatever reason in my head it just went barefoot,
Barefoot.
Toes
Run
out.
barefoot.
Straight
Just-
barefoot.
just straight
Dog
barefoot out the
barking
blocks.
On the track.
I guess it actually helps. I mean, some people like, okay, I didn't even
Yeah,
know.
they don't
I
like the
guess
stink. That's what
I,
it is.
Yeah, I guess the arch in my foot isn't that good. So I mean, I don't think I have flat feet. I don't know.
Really?
But I guess my when my sophomore year, I got shin splints really bad, and people always complain about shin splints. And I think after a while, when your legs get stronger, they stop happening as much. But then also, like, you know, there's people who have very strong legs that still get them. I guess it's just the positioning of your foot when you run.
Gotta drink
It's
my
part of
pickle
it.
juice.
Yeah.
Gross.
It's the magical
I
juice.
think you told me that. Did you ever have like lactic acid buildup ever? I
No.
think that helps with it.
I don't
Pickle
know.
juice
It helps, like cramps and all that kind of stuff. So it's
saltiness.
yeah, it's what I've
Acidity.
used. I used to play soccer for. I played for the state team, and then we went to like some national competition thing, and we had to play like 7 games in 4 days, and I had with me the entire time. Of course, I had a bottle of water, but then I had an entire
gosh.
bottle of just pickle juice.
Pedialyte ever?
And they didn't let you come back because that's
No,
really weird.
I was the only one by the last like 3 games. I was the only one who had any energy left. I was the
crazy.
only one with
I mean,
any
it's just-
like strength in their body to actually continue to perform at a high level.
There's a
Yes.
business idea, like
There you
just
go,
make like
yeah.
a little drink,
Ew.
pickle juice drink.
Entrepreneurship.
Say like just how to
You might,
say
you know,
it.
you might just have to like take it before you leave though, and then brush your teeth before you leave. That would help
Most
too.
definitely.
Yeah,
Talking
you
to
can't.
somebody with some pickle breath.
and that's
Everyone starts having it, and it's just gonna smell pickle all over the place. It'll get bad.
You're just gonna walk around in Nicolay halls and just see jars of pickles and
Yeah.
people's
Oh,
track
yeah.
bags.
That's disgusting. Well, up to you if you like pickles.
But yeah, no. So I also, since I think about freshman year of high school, I got plantar fasciitis in both my feet. That's basically like the tendon that stretches between your heel and your toes, like on the bottom of your foot. It's like really tense. So that's basically what it is. So it's just like over time, it starts to bother me, like it's just like a pain, and it has been a never-ending thing for me. So that was the main reason. So I used to run distance when I was like, especially in middle school, I ran distance, and then that was a thing that caused me to not do distance because it was so much strain on my feet that I just couldn't do that anymore. So then I started to do sprinting, and now here I am, and I still do sprinting. But that's been a definite like barrier for me, and track spikes do not help that at all because track spikes are the worst support ever. So
It depends. I guess it depends on the brand you get. There's these Under Armour ones that I've gotten. I used to wear these Nike ones that were like neon, and they used to make my shins. They used to feel like they were like burning, and like I used to like, always do this thing where I would knock on them, and it would feel like really tough. It would never be any softness in the bone. But like I started wearing like these other like Under Armour ones that like had like gold bottoms and stuff. I feel like it was like a tougher top, so it kind of protected my foot more, so never hurt as much. So
That's important.
so yeah, that's definitely been a thing. But
I had when I did track in middle school, so that was what, 5th, 6th grade. I was doing soccer and track at the same time, and I ran distance. And I don't know, I was like a kid and didn't stretch and was not like a safe person. So I was like, I had super bad like Achilles tendon, something. I don't know. But I'd be like getting off the soccer field, and I remember I had to do like, I did hurdles and I did the mile. So that's back to back. So I did hurdles, and then it didn't work. Like they didn't time it because it was a middle school meet and they didn't do anything right. And then they had to redo it. So I had to do my hurdles and then directly get on the line to do the mile. And I was like running the whole thing, like sobbing. And it's like, there's so much importance of like being safe when you do things like track, because even though you're just running, it's still so much like pressure on your body. And it's just like Andre was saying, like getting the right shoes, it seems like such a little thing, but it's so important to like keep yourself safe.
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially like as you're younger too. I think not a lot of. I mean, when you're in middle school, you don't even need to. Like, I mean, yeah, like it's good, but like in middle school, I don't remember ever having an injury where I ever cramped up, pulled something or something like that because I didn't warm up. But I remember many times in middle school, like I remember one time Matthew Kinchy, he's been my best friend since like first grade, and he's doing track as well, and he's always been a little bit faster than I have since I can possibly remember. He's always been faster than me. And I remember one time we were racing. I went to Glen Hills, and we were racing at a practice. We were just racing a 100 meter in like the parking lot. And we started, and then Matthew falls over like 30 meters in, and I just turn and laugh, and I keep running, and then I beat him, and I come back, and I'm laughing in his face because I'm like, you slowpoke, like imagine losing to me, like. And it turns out, of course he's in like pain, and I'm just laughing at him because why would I help him? And turns out, like, he goes to the doctor and tore his ACL.
Oh my God! What?
That is the scariest thing.
So, there was
Doesn't
me
that take,
being
like,
my
2 years to
my comforting best
that's
friend
insane.
coming back and laughing in his face about beating him in a practice race.
Tearing your ACL in middle school. Jeez, that's.
I mean, at least I'd say middle school athletics sometimes. I don't want to say they don't matter, but like, I guess in high school, I don't know where I'm going with this actually. Hold up.
Well, things aren't taken nearly as seriously
No,
in middle
yeah,
school.
yeah.
In middle school, we did whatever we wanted. It was like the coaches weren't even coaches. They were
No,
just
they
chaperoning
were.
whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah.
It worded it better for me.
They just made sure people didn't throw food on the bus, and
Yeah.
nobody picked their nose. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, and now like recovery thinking about any sport, but track specifically, recovery, sleep, stretching, all of that is equally strength training, which we're going to be doing more of this year, is equally as important as your actual workouts. So you look at all the elite athletes and the time they spend on figuring out exactly what they're eating, when they're eating, how much they're eating, how much they're sleeping, is all equally as important. And it's something that we definitely want to stress more as well, is just taking care of your body.
Actually, I was about to ask, how many days a week do you think we're gonna lift?
Yeah, for sure. So that's something that I'm a big proponent of, along with coaching football and track, is also being in the weight room. And a huge thing, and actually a big part of injury prevention, is building some strength in your legs, some strength in your core, and really everywhere. So we're going to lift sprinters, jumpers, throwers will lift 2 days a week. Distance runners, they do a lot of body weight kind of stuff built into their workouts, but for more of those sprinting groups, it'll be 2 days a week, as long as meets don't really conflict too much with that. Yeah.
And also, I heard didn't you guys, we took out the Carthage meet, and we're going somewhere else now?
Yeah, so that's actually what I'm really excited about. We have a pretty solid boys basketball team this year, as you all know.
Yeah.
And we're hoping, starting their state run tomorrow evening with their first playoff game, and hopefully they make it all the way down to state. And if they do, it would have conflicted with one of our meets. So it's kind of a proactive measure. Took us out of
good
that
vibes.
meet.
That's
Yeah,
good, mojo.
yeah.
Like
So
it.
took us out of that meet already and put us into one of my favorite meets of all time, which is at UW Oshkosh. I used to compete in that meet actually as a high schooler, so it'll be kind of fun going back there now.
You're gonna compete in it
And,
too. You're gonna run on the track for old
Why
time's
not?
sake.
Hey, I'm
Right.
back.
Put the other coaches on there and take them
Is it
on.
like a masters meet?
So,
Oh wow.
That's
I'd watch that. Coach Howell.
had one at UWM. There was like people like 35, 24 years old running the same times as me. I'm like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
it's
Painful.
crazy.
That hurts. I don't want to
I'm
see that.
hoping
actually.
to, not this year, because we probably won't. I mean, we don't have a track, but hopefully next year plan some sort of alumni meet
Yes.
where anybody who graduates can come back
That would
and
act-
run against all the.
Yeah,
the
I have
people.
a I have a
that'd be
coworker
awesome.
actually who works with me.
Yeah.
He's an alumni, and he always he claims he's faster than me, but we've raced and he's
Right.
not.
It'd
But
be
it's
super
funny.
fun.
He's funny. It is funny. He's some 25-year-old dude, and he claims that he was super fast back in his day, but
Right.
Sure.
you know how that stuff kind of goes.
Yeah. So back to UB Oshkosh though. So it's one of my favorite meets. It's one of the first indoor meets of the year. Some really good competition from more northern Wisconsin that we don't see a ton down here. So I'm excited to get there. It'll be teams that we'll see potentially at state later in the year. And a crazy story about that meet is I was running a relay there once, and I don't know how. It's kind of cool because you can actually wear your spikes inside, which you can't do at a lot of places. But their track you can, and like full spikes. And I just wasn't used to running in them because it was the first meet of the year. And I finished and leaned at the end of my relay and just fell onto their track and scun up like my entire back.
Oh.
The best part was
Back?
somebody got a video of it. Yeah, I fell onto my back,
You
and
twist it.
one of my friend's moms got a video of it, and you can just hear the entire gym going like, "Oh!"
Ew.
as soon as I fell. So
oh my goodness.
yeah, I'm
Wow.
excited to go back
Had
there.
jersey on, right? You weren't running with your shirt off.
And it's still my whole shoulder. is
Yeah,
just-
that's
Yeah, they do have like the open
Oh,
back
yeah.
part
They're all
of it too,
like
and they're really
Right.
thin too. So like it's not
Right.
even like
still gonna scrape you.
yeah, good memories of that track.
That's kind of a bummer to end on, but
Yeah.
sounds like
We
a lot
can.
of fun.
I'll say one more quick thing if I can.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
For it.
the other thing I'm super excited about is really implementing. I love like a saying for the year, or kind of a thing that we go with. Yeah, and ours for this year is grow through it. I think it's going to probably be something that we might keep forever. One of my favorite sports psychologists, he has a saying, don't go through it, grow through it. And track can definitely be one of those sports that gets monotonous after a while, training every single day. Same as school, right? Especially as we get to semester 2. So that's going to be kind of our motto for the year is don't go through it, grow through it. And with that, really focusing on growth as a person, growth as a student, and growth as an athlete. So those are things that you'll definitely hear a lot more of throughout the season, and things I'm really excited for.
I'm gonna come up with some chant We're gonna do like a little team, like huddle, like the 1,
Go
2,
through
3,
it.
and like woo.
Yeah, we'll have to do something like that. I'll let you all come up with
What
that.
speed does, I guess, is since there's 3 letters, we say we'll have like the our fits in the middle. So MKE, and then everyone will say speed. So you'll
Oh,
just yell it
that's
out
sick.
loud, I guess.
Yeah,
So.
we'll get creative. I'm sure we'll think of
Good,
something
good.
good.
All right, well that is all the time we have for today.
It's been
Thank you guys.
pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having
Thank you
us.
so much
Yeah,
for
thank-
having me.
Yeah,
Wait.
thank you guys for coming.
Nick
down to
at
our-
night.
Yeah, that's for Nick at Night. We will catch you guys all in the next one. Have a
Love
good
it.
one.
Thanks,
luck
you
this
too.
year.
Thank you.
Yay.